Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel today. We're going to be touching upon all of these national emergencies that keep being declared. Seems to be on an almost day by day or week by week basis at the moment. More than a dozen countries now currently have national emergency measures in place. Now, these are nothing to do with COVID or anything like that. We remember these emergency measures were in place. They seem to have just disappeared in the last few months. And now we have this new emergency, which is the CO2 based emergency. And of course, countries all over the place are declaring these emergencies. Now, I'm going to show you why it may not be exactly as it seems here. But one thing I do want to draw your attention to, if you believe in coincidences, let's look at one thing that's happening right now, not just in the UK, but we'll use this as an example, but also in Canada, the USA, or all over mainland Europe right now, is that we have these three major transport emergencies, as they're being called. Number one, the biggest one, is air travel. Air travel has been hit really hard. Flights, up to 60% of some airports have cancelled their flights. So an airport cancelling 60% of their flights more specifically. We're seeing this across airports right across the UK, right across Europe, right across America as well. All of these flights being cancelled. Now, what they're not saying is that there's something else going on here, and this is to do with hitting CO2 emissions. But we've covered that on a previous video last week, so I'm not going to go over all of that again today. What else do we have? We have trains. We have this national train emergency strike is being called throughout the UK right now. So this has disrupted the rail networks. What else do we have? We have cars. So these are your three main sources of transport. You have cars as well. Well, what's happening? Fuel prices are through the roof. Now I'm going to show you some crazy hypocrisy going on with these fuel prices. We'll go to the shared screen in a moment. I think you'll be quite surprised by some of the things going on. Now, just recently, we have had Italy, Australia, the Netherlands, Denmark, and Germany all triggering emergency measures, as well as Biden in the USA has triggered emergency measures over energy. Now, let me show you why it makes absolutely no sense. So here was the US declaration. Biden declares US energy emergency. The nation's ability to provide sufficient electricity is under threat. US President Joe Biden has blamed Russia for a looming crisis in the US, saying his country might not be able to generate enough electricity to meet consumer demand, partly due to the conflict in Ukraine. And partly would be the word here. Biden declared an emergency, energy emergency on Monday. Now, this is throughout all these different countries. Now, I want to show you something really key here. The USA has this emergency, but yet the USA is exporting their fuel. Does that make any sense? The price of gasoline has climbed above $5 per gallon. US fuel exports have continued to rise. So they're actually exporting more fuel, adding additional pressure on domestic fuel inventories. With refineries already running at full tilt, something has got to give, according to Bloomberg. Now, this is interesting because what's happening in the UK, fuel is about to hit £2 per litre, average price of diesel reaches new high of £1.97 and petrol £1.89 per litre, even though the oil price is now falling. Now, what else is going on? UK is exporting billions of litres of their petrol to the United States despite local record pump prices. Does this make any sense? The US is exporting their fuel and the UK is exporting their fuel. And they're saying the reason the fuel price is so high is because they can't get enough fuel because of Russia and Ukraine. But yet they're exporting all of their fuel. It makes absolutely no sense. And here we have Germany and Austria declare gas emergency. Denmark, this is slightly different. They've been told to adopt an emergency to reach the CO2 goals. This is by the United Nations. Now look how strict this is. They have been recommended that Denmark impose a halfway goal of cutting emissions, again, a halfway goal by, this is crazy, 50 to 54% by 2025. We're already halfway through 2022. That means 2.5 years, Denmark has got to cut their emissions, which is a halfway goal, by over 50%. This is insanity. Denmark has already cut its carbon emissions by 38% compared with 1990. The country is on track to reduce CO2 by 45% in 2030. Germany then rations gas amid Russian cuts. Now, one thing you may not know is that Russia provides 40% of the natural gas to mainland Europe. So what have they done? Exactly what I said they would do. The EU, or in particular, not the EU, but specific countries have done a U-turn on coal. So now, rather than saying they're going to get rid of all of their coal and coal plants, they've done a U-turn and they are now going back to coal. Now, again, all of these people seem to be an opponent of nuclear energy, even though, yes, there's risk with nuclear, but it is cleaner than any other energy source, including solar and wind turbines. So Germany has said they'll compensate for the move by increasing the burning of coal, a more polluting fossil fuel. Now here's something I want to show you which I thought was very interesting and ironic. People will be ordered to work from home in the event of a major fuel crisis sparked by the war in Ukraine under secret government emergency plans. Now isn't it ironic how all of these top secret emergency plans keep getting leaked that are supposedly being controlled by the government, top secret, and yet they sort of just somehow get into the public domain via the mainstream media all the time. Am I being a bit skeptical here? People keep telling me, Neil, you're too skeptical with all of these things. Let me just tell you one thing. For those of you that know I served in the military, I was handling top secret documents on a daily basis. I mean, daily, I would handle anywhere from 2 to 3, sometimes more, top secret documents. I would also deliver top secret documents. I've had times where I didn't even know that this was about to happen. I was told by my commanding officer, this needs to get to so-and-so. All the details are down at the helipad. I'd be getting on a helicopter. I'm flying. Where the heck am I going? I don't even know. Next thing, I'm on a frigate in the middle of the ocean off the coast. And then the chopper takes off and I'm stuck there. This is the sort of thing that happened to me. Now, I'm sharing this story because when I used to control these top secret documents, there's absolutely no possible way that they can get leaked. Unless someone, I mean, you would have to take this document, you couldn't even take photos because your phone is not allowed in the same room. It has to be checked in before you go in. So how you could somehow unseal this document before it gets to the next, it doesn't make any sense. It is complete nonsense. These documents are being deliberately leaked. It's nonsense. Let me just say that, but without going any further. So let's see what this top secret document seems to reveal then. The Irish Independent has learned confidential details of an emergency planning exercise held 10 days ago between all the major state agencies and the government. Delegates were given a scenario of a 20% diesel supply deficit in September. This is September of this year, bearing in mind. So we're talking 3 months away at most, and a 35% drop in supply in December. So again, not far away. The third and most extreme scenario proposed for February 2023, again, this date keeps coming up all the time, is where gas and oil supplies cannot meet the demand for electricity generation or farmers preparing to cut silage. So what would this emergency plan consist of for us all then? All non-essential workers will be ordered to work from home, not suggested, ordered. A limit will be placed on all non-essential car travel. So that's your vacations, your holidays, your weekend breaks. Do you do some hobbies on the evening? Do you like to go and do a class at the gym? Well, no, you won't be able to do any of that because that is non-essential. A strict limit on the amount of fuel motorists can buy at any one time. The implementation of an immediate and strict reduction in the speed limit. Now, I thought this was interesting. Those with odd numbers could refuel on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and those with an even number on Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. So what about Sunday? Does that mean that they would simply close the fuel station on that day? We don't really know. And also interesting is that this is exactly what happened in the United States decades ago when we had a similar crisis around energy. This was the exact measure taken. This is so funny, so I've highlighted these parts. The confidential meeting, can't be that confidential, was termed the oil emergency exercise. Now here's something else that we need to look at. Remember all these videos I've made about food and oh no, and you're seeing all this opposition now in the mainstream media saying all of these conspiracy theorists are making all these videos about food, but there is no food problems, etc. Well, why does it say here as to whether we will divert oil to electricity generation or agriculture to grow food? Our friends at the WEF, of course, it has to be them. The UK has begun the world's biggest trial of the 4-day work week. What are the pros and cons? Now they go through this big article. What else do we have? We are taking the 4-day work week global. The conversation about the 4-day work week is all over the world. So which countries and which governments have a 4-day work week then, you may ask? Iceland has done the trial. Morgantown, Boulder, Japan, Spain, Scotland, Ireland, UAE, California, of course California's done it, the United Kingdom, Belgium, the Philippines, and Lithuania. So let me just wrap up by asking you this question then. Do you really think that all of these national emergencies being declared at exactly the same time and all of the exact same coincidences are happening at exactly the same time with all of this energy, with all the production, yet they're trying to sweep it under the carpet about the fact that they're exporting a lot of their energy and they're saying we haven't got enough fuel, that's why prices are so high, we just haven't got enough. But they're exporting the fuel, which means they don't have enough. Again, do you think this is all just a coincidence, how all of this is happening at exactly the same time? Everyone's declaring these national emergencies at exactly the same time over energy. Because I don't think it's a coincidence. And again, they're saying that Russia is deliberately not supplying gas to the European nations, and it's because of this that we have this energy crisis. Partially true, but not completely. The truth of the matter is, and again, people, I know you don't like me saying this, but this is the truth. Russia is not saying you can't have energy. They are saying you can have energies just like you always have, but you must pay in rubles. That's it. That is what is going on here, and the EU won't pay in rubles because they can't sanction and confiscate money if it's paid in rubles. You remember they basically took all of Russia's money that were in the central banks and confiscated it. So you just got to look at this logically. If you were Russia, would you accept euros and dollars and other currency as payment? I know I wouldn't if I were in that position. I simply wouldn't accept that as a payment. So them asking for payment in rubles, the EU and all the other nations are saying that this is unfair and it's not right and they should accept euros and dollars and whatever else. But that's just not going to happen. So of course this lie is being spun that Russia is not providing energy anymore. They've banned, giving energy to these countries. It's not true, my friends, ladies and gents. It's not true. Now there is another angle to this, and that is that a lot of the countries don't want to pay in rubles because they don't want to fuel what's happening in Ukraine, i.e. paying for it. But the fact of the matter is, Russia is going to get that money no matter what. Whether they provide oil and gas and everything else to Europe and whoever else, or they just simply provide it now to India and China and some of these other nations. They're going to sell this energy no matter what. Again, I'm not getting into the ethics of this here. I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong. I'm just giving you the facts so that you can make your own decision as to what you think is really going on throughout this whole situation. Thank you so much for watching today. Take care. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow.